This is the Fullerton Financial Hour with Stephanie and Steve Fullerton. Stephanie is the president and founder of Fullerton Financial Planning. Stephanie and her team believe in building lifelong relationships built on performance and trust to help you build wealth so you can reach retirement and make sure you stay retired. Welcome to the Fullerton Financial Hour, where your retirement dreams begin.
Welcome. I'm Megan Mozak. Joining me, Stephanie and Steve Fullerton from Fullerton Financial Planning here in the Valley. Retiring early. It may sound like a dream you wish could come true, but when an early retirement is forced upon you, it can be less than ideal. Today, Stephanie and Steve tell you what to do if that happens to you. And later in the Fullerton Factor, how much risk are you exposing your savings to? Steve shares a smart financial tool that may help you find out. Steve, Stephanie, great to be here with you.
Thank you.
You know, we talk about early retirement. It does sound pretty dreamy, right? Walking away from the workforce, entering the golden years. But when we do have a forced retirement, a retirement we didn't see coming, we didn't plan, that can be pretty unnerving. How often do you see that? How often are people coming to you and saying, I was forced out of work?
Yeah, well, a lot, unfortunately, lately. You know, over the last year, we've seen, whether it's companies having to reduce, workforce or furlough, letting go, shutting down. I mean, we have seen it a lot lately, and it is very concerning because really what becomes the question is, okay, now what do I do? Can I go ahead and move into retirement? Do I need to look for another job? I remember a couple that I helped about 6 years ago. Their story, they're young, they were 60, their retirement plans were to work to 65. I remember sitting down with them and as they began to share and talk to me, they were forced into retirement, not because they wanted to, but because life threw them a curveball. He had been diagnosed with lung cancer. Maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe 5 years. I remember sitting down and the very thing, Megan, that he said to me was, Stephanie, I don't need you to tell me that you can make me a lot of money. What I need you to tell me is that my wife is going to be okay. That was so important to him. And I think people that are coming into us right now as life has thrown them curveballs, a lot more than they were expecting, they're saying the same thing. We're not asking you to make us a lot of money. We're asking you to help us to know that we're going to be okay and that we can retire. And it takes sitting down because everybody's different in this.
Yeah, I'll say, unfortunately, with the run of it here the last year or so, it's been happening quite a bit. And I'll tell you, those meetings are different because you can cut the tension inside of there like with a knife. And there's fear. And oftentimes there's even tears. There's a difference between retiring when you want to and the forced retirement. So, important to be able to sit down with someone that can help plan even an unexpected retirement.
And that's really what we're talking about. Yes. Unexpected early retirements happening for a variety of reasons. Could be a buyout, a layoff, it could be a sickness. And you don't see it coming, and there is that fear that surrounds it. So if someone is facing that, what's the first thing they should do, the first step?
They need to call us. I mean, really, they need to call us or someone like us, because why? We have the experience. We've been doing this for 17 plus years, sitting down, creating strategies, so we know where to go to in the toolbox. It's not like we're guessing. We're using proven strategies to help people plan. And perhaps there's something that we know that you haven't even thought about. Well, we're able to sit down and begin to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It is kind of unfortunate when life kind of throws us a curveball and what our dreams are shattered right in front of us. What we're here to do and what our team of advisors are here to do is to help put that puzzle back together and to give you some certainty, to know what to do, to kind of get that roadmap together so you know which turn, which place to go, which road to take.
And you're talking about a comprehensive plan, because that really is what a modern day retirement needs. This isn't just grab a few products and you're done, or I have Social Security, so I'm ready to go. Walk us through why comprehensive retirement planning does give us confidence.
Because it looks at an overall picture. A lot of people think that the only solution is, I'm going to invest my money inside of the market. Can I tell you that's really scary? When the markets do well,
It's great.
fantastic. Everyone is a hero and everyone loves it. But what if, just because of timing, you get forced to retire, you've got all of your portfolio inside of the market, which maybe, and I could even say likely, isn't the right idea, the right strategy to move forward, and then the market's correct. What I love about what we do is we sit down, we listen to each individual situation. We listen to dreams, goals, and desires. We listen to the fears and tears and tensions and anxiety as well. But what we do, especially when it's an early retirement, maybe they don't want to retire. Again, difference between I want to and I'm forced out. But as we sit down and come up with a plan to move forward from today forward, well then what if employment or consulting or whatever comes in? Fantastic. We just adjust the plan to the new situation. This isn't a one and done and here it is and enjoy. It's a relationship moving forward with the changes in life, the changes in health, and the changes in family. And it's a plan that's tweakable moving forward.
You said the word relationship, and that's really what it is.
Yes.
We'll continue the conversation here in just a moment. Do you love your job so much that maybe you think you'll never retire? Well, up next, Stephanie and Steve explain why that plan could actually backfire. And later, want to know if market volatility is posing a risk to your retirement? Steve shares a strategy that may help you find out. But first, here's how you can connect with Stephanie, Steve, and the team at Fullerton Financial Planning. Stay with us.
At Fullerton Financial Planning, relationships come first. Placing your trust in a financial advisor is an important decision. Finding that person who can build a plan that gives you confidence. We strive to help you fulfill your dreams and live the retirement you want.
Call us at Fullerton Financial Planning or visit us on the web.
It's about building a relationship with you, hearing your vision, and being with you every step of the way.
You're watching the Fullerton Financial Hour, where your retirement dreams begin.
Thanks for tuning in today. And Stephanie and Steve, we've heard this saying over and over, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That sounds pretty good. Okay, so if you love what you do, maybe you think, I don't need to save for retirement. I don't even need to plan for retirement. My plan is to just keep working. Is that a good idea? What do you think?
Well, I hope it works out. But what if it doesn't? No, we don't plan on getting sick, but what if you do get sick? How do you live out retirement at that point? You know, if you haven't put a plan in place, wow, that's pretty dangerous. It'd be no different than, let's say, Megan, you and I decided tonight that we were going to go to, Hawaii, right?
Sounds great to me.
Sounds great to me. So we go down to Sky Harbor, we get on the plane, and we're excited. In fact, maybe we're even cheering and having a couple glasses of wine. And what happens? The pilot comes on, getting ready to take off. We got our seatbelts on. We are excited. We're talking about, we're going to put sunscreen on. We're not going to get burnt. And he says, you know what? I just needed to make a little quick disclosure. And he almost kind of softens his voice. It's almost as if not to hear him. And he says, I just needed to let you know, just got in from New York City, didn't have time to fill up with gas. I think we're going to be okay. I think the fumes will get us there. So we're just going to go ahead and take off because I don't have time to fill up. How comfortable are we with that?
Get me off that plane.
No, right?
Yeah.
And so, if you're planning on working forever, that's great, but what if something happens and you can't? We don't want to go into something hoping we're going to be okay. We want to fill up our gas tank. We want to have a plan. So if we work forever, hey, there's more money for your beneficiaries. But if something happens and you don't, then you've got a plan.
Well, two things I'd like to point out here is, number one, I've been on several flights, and a couple have been to Hawaii, actually, and I have never had one conversation about putting on sunscreen. But that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is this. Mortality statistics say there's a 100% chance that you're going to die. We just don't know when. So God bless everyone that's healthy and happy and working. Work as long as you want to. That's a great thing. But the mortality statistics are going to keep up, going to reach up to you. And the other thing is this. What about a spouse? I find with the people that we sit down with, a spouse wants the assurity to know they're going to be taken care of at some point in time.
I want to talk about a famous Mike Tyson quote. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
right.
Punched in the face.
Yeah.
And that can be what it feels like to people who thought, I'm just going to keep working until they're forced out of work. Maybe because of their age, they're earning a lot, and the company decides to go a different direction. That can feel pretty scary. This is where I would imagine it's important to have something like an emergency fund. Maybe, is that something you talk to your clients about?
Absolutely, not just to our clients, but to our kids, to our family, to everyone that's around. You know, we like to say 6 months to 12 months of monthly expenses put aside. And yes, you're not going to make much money in that. We get that. I mean, you're not making the interest rates that we want to earn, but it's about having the money so you can get to it quickly, take care of it, and not have to put it on credit card or not have to borrow it. So it's very important to have an emergency fund.
Is that emergency fund or the amount in it, is it different if you're still working as opposed to if you're already retired?
It really is. I like that 6-month figure just because if you have something that you need to reach into, you can refill the bucket back up. But it's so important to be able to have the assurance that you've got it in case you need it.
And I would assume it needs to be liquid, right? So keeping it in the bank, where do you tell people to put it? I hope not under the mattress, but.
Well, I do. I mean, there are different places for some liquidity, but I say 3 to 6 months inside of the bank. You're not making anything, but it's safe. It's liquid in 10 minutes. You're not getting any return. But the value of it being that liquid has got importance. So for that chunk, I say in the bank.
And I find too, everybody's different on this. You know, my aunt was one of my very first clients. And I remember my aunt at the time, she had a big number in the checking account. And I said to her, I said, you know, isn't that too much? I mean, it was well over the 12-month figure. And she said to me, I'll never forget this, and it was a great learning tool for me in the very beginning. She said, Stephanie, if I have 1 penny less than that, I will not be able to sleep at night. I need to know that that money's there should I need it. And everybody's different. So one of the beginning conversations as we're talking to people about budget and income and liquidity and longevity, I'm always asking them, what is your comfort level? How much do you need to see that you can get to today if you have to? Again, whether it's 6 months or a year, we want to, number one, make sure we have kind of the standard, but then it really goes down to the individual, how much they do want to have.
And taking that individual approach with each person.
Yes.
All right, Stephanie, Steve, thank you. Next, just how susceptible is your portfolio to market volatility? Up next, Steve shows us a powerful financial tool that could give you a little more clarity. That's coming up next in the Fullerton Factor. Later, we'll answer some of your questions. Stay tuned.
You have a club for every scenario. A driver for the long holes. Wedges to get you over the hazards. And a putter for when you need a touch of finesse. What about your retirement? Will you have enough to play the back nine? Call to set your 15-minute phone visit today and let's find out. Get a second set of eyes on your retirement plan.
You're watching the Fullerton Financial Hour, where your retirement dreams begin.
Back with Steve Fullerton, Fullerton Financial Planning. And Steve, I want to talk about market volatility, the ups and the downs. And this is really no time to be swinging for the fences when we're nearing retirement. Really important, though, to find out just how much risk you can take. How do we do that?
Right. Well, it's true. As we're nearing retirement, the natural ebb and flow really should be to analyze that to see if what got us to retirement, risk, and that's probably a good thing, is appropriate going into retirement when we're not putting into our accounts anymore. So usually it's a pretty good natural progression to reduce that down. Now, what's appropriate is depending on you. You're the one that determines that, how comfortable you are with risk. So inside of our office, inside of our firm, we use a tool, technology called Riskalyze, and it's really phenomenal to discover you and your comfort with risk. So you're not a client. You always can become one if you would like, but would you be willing to go through this example with me today?
Sure, I would love to.
Good. So the one thing that we determine is right off the get-go, we talk about what you want your money to do for you, what your goals are with your money, retirement money. So you can pick up to 3. What would you say your goals would be?
Well, to start, I'd say retirement. And then how about college savings and income?
Sure. Well, that's pretty important in retirement because without income, you really don't have a retirement. So I'll agree with you on that for sure. And we talk about how much money that you have to invest. And Megan, this is your lucky day. I'm going to bequeath you $380,000 for our example today.
Okay, that sounds great. So that's my nest egg.
That's your nest egg.
Okay.
Now, of that, what I want you to do is come up with a figure, not just a loss, because nobody likes to lose money. No one does, but a devastating loss. If you lost it, it would blow you up. A lot of people refer to it as like an uncle point. Remember when you were wrestling as a child and somebody would twist your arm or whatever, and then it would get to the point where you'd tap out or you'd call uncle. What would be your uncle point of that $380,000?
I think probably 40%, Steve.
Okay, well, 40% of $380,000 is $150,000.
Oh, wow. Okay, that looks a little different in a dollar amount.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do. They talk about percentages, but they don't attach dollars to it. So that is a big number, but let's go ahead and roll forward if you're okay with our example today. Now, the other thing I want to tell you is usually there could be up to 10 questions that I ask. We've kind of reduced that for our example today, but I'll give you an example of what we're talking about. We talk about a certainty versus some risk. If you pick the certainty, it is what it is, it is what it is. If you take the risk, I'm going to pull a coin out of my pocket and we're going to flip it. So the first one is, would you choose the certainty of 10%, or would you like me to pull the coin out of my pocket and we flip it? Hedge, you lose 40%, your devastating number. However, if we flip it and it comes up tails, you gain 150%. So would you rather have the certainty of the gain or the coin flip at 50-50?
Well, the return on the coin flip, if it goes my way, looks great. Yes. But this is my retirement. I think I have to lock in the certainty. Okay,
so let's go ahead and lock in the certainty. My next question to you is, how about a certainty of a 15% loss? Or I pull the coin out of my pocket, we do the 50-50 flip. Heads, you lose your devastating 40%. Tails, you gain 150%.
Can't do it. I just can't. That devastating loss is stuck in my head. I think I need to have that certainty, Steve.
Okay, so how you answered those questions gave you the score of a 33. And the easiest way to kind of explain that number is think of a speed limit sign. A 1 mile per hour, if they had them, would be walking down the road. It's kind of like your money in the bank. It just is. Nothing's happening, it just is. A 72 would be what the S&P 500 index is, and my goodness sakes, it's a lot of fun while the markets are making money. The problem is there are no shock absorbers. So you're at a 33 mile per hour, kind of like driving through a city street. Now, the other thing that we do is we analyze a current portfolio. So we analyze your current portfolio, and your current portfolio is almost at what the S&P market is doing. So you're thinking, well, you're comfortable at driving at 33, but your portfolio is really driving you at 67 miles per hour.
That's the highway.
That's, yeah, crazy. If you're driving at 67 in a 33 mile per hour zone, either you're going to get into a bad wreck or the cops are going to be on your tail and write you a big ticket. So let's see what the good news is with your current portfolio. At a 67, if a bull market were to occur, a really good market, you'd make 27%. That's $5,000. That's fantastic. The problem is, if there's a bear market, like happened back in the 2007 era, you lose about $181,000.
Wow.
And so that's a big, big change between a 33 and a 67. And what we talk about is, if your comfort level is at a 33, in a bad market happens, you're not going to be happy because you're not making the money that we all want to make. But if you're at a 67 like you are right now, you're not able to sleep at night. And there's a really good probability that without taking some corrective action, maybe the retirement that you want isn't going to be able to happen when you want it to. So that's what we use inside of our office, and it's really interesting to see most of the people that we sit down with, not all, but most of the people, just like you, here's your comfort level, but their portfolio is disjointed. So
Getting it somewhere to be a little bit more centered together.
right.
That's excellent. Riskalyze, powerful tool,
It is
Steve.
amazing.
Thank you. And we'll be back.
Just when you may want to forget your age, Uncle Sam says not so fast. Knowing your age is more important than ever when it comes to taking your required minimum distributions, or RMDs. Legislation just changed the age requirement, and not accounting for that could impact your retirement plan. It could be key to not overpaying on taxes in retirement. So remember, when it comes to RMDs, age is more than just a number. Before your next birthday, call today to secure a strategy for the RMD age change and your retirement.
When you address your financial concerns, it can lead to greater confidence about your future.
At Fullerton Financial Planning, our workshops focus on common issues that people preparing for and in retirement face.
Issues like income needs, medical expenses, and legacy planning. Many of the treasure relationships we built started with a visit to one of our workshops.
Call or see FullertonFP.com for a complete list of upcoming events and to register.
You're watching the Fullerton Financial Hour, where your retirement dreams begin.
Well, now it's time to get to some of the questions you have for Stephanie and Steve today. Ready to get started?
Yes.
We're going to jump right in. Here we go. First question is from Angie in Mesa. I'm thankful I still have a job, but my employer just sent out a letter saying they are no longer matching our 401k contributions. Should I stop contributing and put the money elsewhere, or leave it as is?
Well, I'm going to say this isn't uncommon, first of all. Companies have had to make adjustments. Number one thing I'm really happy to see is that she is thinking. She is putting away. She has been contributing. But since they're not matching, maybe we want to look at some other options. Now, I'm never going to give a standard answer on something like this or a blanket advice, because we want to sit down. We want to look at everyone individually. But maybe it's time to think about, instead of contributing to the tax deferred, maybe we take the money that you were contributing and let's look at the limits on doing a Roth conversion. Let's look at tax brackets. So there's a lot of ways that we could answer this. So that's why I'm going to say, give us a call. Let us sit down. We are not cookie cutters here. We love to customize everybody that comes in. But I'm proud that she is at least putting and thinking about retirement.
And if you are getting that match,
do it.
okay.
Yes.
Because that's just free money.
It is.
We all love free money,
Absolutely.
and we love free money for our clients.
Indeed. Okay, next question from Roland in Peoria. He says, my wife and I are 58. Our dream retirement is spending time with our kids and grandkids at the lake. The bulk of our retirement savings is in each of our 401ks. We won't need to tap into them for a while. We both plan to work until at least age 65. Is there anything we should be doing now to prepare for that time?
Yes. The best time to start planning for retirement is 20 years ago, like planting a tree. But the second best time is today. 58 years old is right in a great timeline for them, and they've been contributing, and that's fantastic. But what they need to do is come up with a plan so we can look forward to a 65 retirement. Can that be achieved? How can that be achieved? What strategies should be implemented? 401k, certainly, that sounds like it's the major chunk right now, and great. But there are some other things that could be put in place, or at least be strategized to be put in place.
And one thing I would say to Roland is, okay, so he's 58, and he's not planning on retiring for several years. Well, there's some opportunity right now to do some tax planning. So maybe we want to take a look at this and get some taxes out of the way now so we can get some tax-free growth for tomorrow. And then when he turns 59 and a half, that's an important age that a lot of people don't realize. At 59 and a half, Megan, you have the opportunity to really take full control of that 401k. Possibly roll it out. Sit down with us, let us take a look and say, okay, whether it's this year or maybe we spread it out, tax bracket's important. We want to look how it affects everything, but to get some tax efficient strategy, because I always say the more money I can keep in your pocket, the more money you're going to have in retirement, and the more that he gets to do with his grandkids and children and wife.
So that forward looking that he's doing is really good.
Yes.
Okay, next question from Travis in Tempe says, is there a good rule of thumb for how much of my IRA should be invested in safe investments at age 60, or is it just a matter of personal preference?
Well, the old rule of thumb, but I'm not going to say it's the good rule of thumb, is you take 100 and you minus your age. But I don't like that because everybody is different. Everybody's got a different situation. And so it's really a personal thing. What we do is we use a technology that's called Riskalyze. And it deals with, if you were in the office, it would deal with you and how you feel and how comfortable you are in the market. There are some people, great, and other people that are absolutely not. So I don't like the rule of thumb. I believe it's important about you and the right, I always say the right percentage at the right risk time.
And wouldn't you say also that there has a lot to do with what you can afford? You know, some people cannot afford as much risk as other people can. So how is risk going to affect your overall retirement plan? We don't want it to wipe it out. So it does take sitting down and customizing everybody. You know, let's find out what your risk temperature is. Let's find out where your comfort is, and then we go from there and make it work for you.
That personal plan brings a lot of confidence. All right, Steve, Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thanks, Megan.
If you have a question, you can submit it by calling the number on your screen, and we might answer your question on a future show. Don't hesitate to act on anything you've heard today. It never hurts to call, especially if it's for that second opinion. So don't wait. Call now. For Stephanie, Steve, and the team at Fullerton Financial Planning, I'm Megan Mozak. Have a great day and an even better retirement.